New York City may be known as the concrete jungle, but it is actually home to 20,000 acres of forests and wetlands across the 5 boroughs. Bronx Park is one of the city's most biodiverse green spaces, spanning 718 acres in the central Bronx. 2 miles of the Bronx River run through the park, serving as a natural highway for plants, animals, and pollution. Bronx Park is maintained by several independent organizations dedicated to environmental conservation. The Natural Areas Conservancy is an environmental protection agency working to help bring these separate groups together towards collaborative efforts in Bronx Park. Helen Forgione is the senior ecologist for the NAC and worked on their Conservancy Engagement Report for Bronx Park.
One of the key features that really made this an important project is the fact that the Bronx River runs through it. So all of these uplands contribute to the health of the Bronx River. If the forest is in good condition, then it can absorb a lot of the stormwater, for instance, before it gets to the river, so pollutants don't go directly in.
The health of our forests directly correlates to the health of our waterways and wetlands. Controlling pollution and preventing sewage overflows into the Bronx River is essential in protecting public health and the natural environment. The Bronx River Alliance is a public-private partnership with the goal of restoring the only freshwater river in New York City. Michelle Ludke is their Director of Environmental Stewardship.
We're standing here in the beautiful Starlight Parks in the South Bronx in front of River House, which is our new facility here. We're very excited. We've got a classroom, a multi-purpose room, a water quality lab, and excitingly, we have a boathouse.
One of their conservation efforts is testing the pollution levels of the river to track the sources of sewage overflows.
Today what we've been doing is we've been taking water quality samples. So we started up at the headwaters in Valhalla, up by the Kensico Reservoir, and we went all the way out to the mouth of the river down by Soundview Park. So we have 15 different samples, and we're looking at how the health of the Bronx River is. We've been tracking pollution in terms of the sewage and the fecal pathogens and the bacteria that can get into the water.
From this, they can track the majority of sewage overflows to further up the river in Westchester County. Funding this research protects the communities along the Bronx River and informs future restoration projects. However, cuts in funding due to the coronavirus shutdown threaten to halt the progress being made. With reduced staff and resources, volunteers have stepped in to support Bronx Park.
Volunteers, school groups can come out and get involved. We had a planting on Tuesday with a few volunteers. Normally we have a lot more volunteers, but because of COVID, we want to keep our numbers low and keep people safe while they're still helping us protect, improve, and restore the watershed.
Park stewards in the Bronx have reported more than double the typical visitorship in 2020 due to the coronavirus shutdown. New Yorkers' need for public green spaces has led to a noticeable increase in pollution, creating extra work for park employees.
What we ended up seeing was our parks not only got used, they got abused. And so people weren't being good stewards when they came out to the park because they would come out, they would bring all their party stuff, and then they would leave it. They wouldn't even put it in the garbage. We saw a lot of PPE in the park. People have been exercising and recreating just in among blowing garbage. It's really been a tough situation.
Due to coronavirus cutbacks, an estimated $84 million was slashed from the NYC Parks budget. This means the Bronx Park project will not receive a second year of funding.
The pandemic hit and that funding is unable to be renewed. So all of that momentum kind of came to a halt.
Less resources and more trash puts a strain on Bronx Park groups, threatening their public research projects, educational programs, and conservation efforts.
The pandemic has kind of brought to light how important it is to be in natural areas and how much solace a lot of New Yorkers have gotten from walking in the woods.
Despite their challenges, these organizations remain optimistic about the future and plan to continue communicating and working together towards their shared goal of improving and conserving Bronx Park.
We think it's very important that people understand that they are powerful agents of change and that they don't have to act collectively in order to have an impact. Although they can have a bigger impact if we act both individually and collectively. We hope that, in 10, 20, 50 years' time, that there will be an entire cadre of stewards who love the Bronx River. Hopefully by then we will have found all the sources of sewage pollution. We will have prevented the trash from getting in, and this will just be a glorious natural resource and a community amenity, and that people, when they come to their parks, will not face the park with their back to the river, but will come to the park and actually face the river.